It's like just a 5-yard face mask.
Again, we apologize for the technical. Oh, and we are good.
You are good.
We are good to go. All right, and it'll be another run play for Terra Nova, and they gain about 5 more yards up to the 35. So a couple of solid runs right up the gut, and it is Wyatt again, his second carry of the night.
Gain of 3.
And while we get started, just wanted to sort of give you a fun little tidbit. Way back in the day, me and my compadre, partner here, Ethan Castle, broadcast all the varsity football games, I think with one exception, in the fall of 2013 as seniors. So we are very happy and honored to be back here and doing it again. 2nd and 5 for Terra Nova. It's a bootleg off to the side, now at about the 41. So that'll be about another gain of 6. And a penalty flag down.
Almost on the line.
Should be a hold.
Personal foul. This one will be against Terra Nova. So that. We thank you all for joining us this evening on Friday, April 2nd, for some spring football in the PAL Bay Division.
Against Terra Nova.
It's a bit of a new experience, I think, for everyone, but so far, everything gone great, and COVID protocols being maintained in the booth, and so that'll be 2nd and 19 now for Terra Nova. About 10:38 remaining in this first quarter of play. Let's see what the Tigers decide to do here. It'll be another run. And off to the side, and the tackle made by number 21 of Burlingame, that's Kyle Sieben. And another carry from Wyatt.
That time they had 4 guys on this side, but I think it's a wingback almost on the line of scrimmage.
So that's only a gain of a couple, 4 yards, so it'll be 3rd and 15 for Terra Nova.
For the Tigers.
Fabiani Wyatt, you may remember his older brother Giovanni also suited up for the Tigers. A lot of players with older siblings have played on this Terra Nova team. A few familiar names that we'll get into as the night goes on.
Too wide now.
So 3rd and 15, 2 men wide, and that'll be blown dead quickly.
Penalty flags are down.
And this one looks like it's going to be against Terra Nova again. That's a false start, 5 more yards back.
3rd and 19. Brings up 3rd and 19 for Terra Nova.
I'll call you one.
Is it in?
Yeah, I'm going to put it in first, and we're going to go through the cameras because for some reason that's not working.
Okay.
Does it look like a timeout or something? Come on, take a timeout so we can switch cameras.
So this will be 3rd and 20 for Terra Nova, and probably not the start they were hoping for on offense, but first drive of the year, no football in a year and a half. Sometimes it's just how it goes, and that is a quick tackle in the backfield by, looks like, number 55 for Burlingame.
Stop for a 2-yard loss. Brings up 4th and 21.
So now 4th and 21, and this definitely a punt situation for Terra Nova.
One of those situations where even that coach in Arkansas would have to consider punting.
Deep for Burlingame.
Seeing a story on sports
Giovanni.
go about a team that onside kick, goes for 2, never punts. Little school, Pulaski Academy, but I think even here he'd have second thoughts.
The punt away with 8:59 left in the first, and not a particularly great one. That will fall and bounce backward and take a Burlingame roll. They will start at the Terra Nova 36. And while we...
Five sweep right. The ball is at the Terra Nova 37-yard line.
So it'll be the 37 of Terra Nova that Burlingame will start this first offensive possession of a game in which they are looking to hopefully do a bit more damage on offense that they have done the last couple weeks. They have great field position to start. Here's the handoff and a carry right around the side, and a great carry by number 21, that is Kyle Sieben. And a first down for Burlingame.
Good.
That is a great start.
First down, Panthers.
If you can get him going out to the side and you can get Isaac Frankel with a few more windows up the middle, should be able to finally get some good games going on the ground after dealing with a couple of loaded defenses in the last couple of weeks from the likes of Sacred Heart Prep and Menlo Atherton.
Yeah, to me it looks like a push forward, but
Burlingame's still running that wing tee. It feels like they've been running it for 84 years. First and 10, and a handoff, and it's right up the middle, and a quick tackle. And I've just received confirmation that everything is good to go, and we are streaming live. So I just want to take a moment to address my partner Ethan and say thank you. It is an honor to be back doing this with you once again. And what a strange experience this last year has turned out to be.
Normally, I'm checking baseball scores and we're looking at pennant races. No, it's the second day of the Major League season we're trying to balance with high school football. Definitely an unusual backdrop. But at least the weather's been compliant. Breezy but comfortable.
And that's a handoff to number 25 for Burlingame, and he is just going to be short. Down at the one, that is Elijah LaGuardia for Burlingame. And Wyatt McGovern is the quarterback who is under center for the Panthers. So LaGuardia, a fantastic carry there, and first and goal.
Got him for about 18 yards. Last year, it seemed like it was usually Lucas Meredith running up the middle and then a few carries for LaGuardia off to the side. And obviously, the offense lost a lot when Meredith's family moved to Arizona, but LaGuardia, only a junior, still a very bright future ahead with him. Nice run off to the side there.
Sieben and Frankel in the backfield for Burlingame. Here's the handoff. It will go to Frankel, and he is going to be in for a Panther touchdown and a welcome broken streak. It is their first touchdown since week 1 of this season, and an early 6-0 lead for Burlingame.
First career touchdown for Frankel, I do believe. He was down the depth chart last year behind the likes of Meredith and Taylor Kaufman, and the only touchdown they'd scored on the year prior to this, I believe, was a pass to Sieben. So congrats to Isaac Frankel. Some tough runs up the middle, and finally the hard work pays off.
Ryan Call to kick the extra point for Burlingame, and it is up and good. So make that a 7-0 lead for the Panthers with 6:53 to go in this first quarter.
yeah, and when they do that, there's nothing you can do.
And so plays the audio recording of the fight song.
I've seen so many teams roll out different sorts of celebrations and such after touchdowns with limited crowds and such. Some, like this, having cheerleaders dance to the fight songs. I believe it was Los Gatos. They didn't have the cheerleaders yelling. They just had audio recordings that they sort of clapped along with. Some schools played recorded music after touchdowns. Some just had nothing at all. It's nice to have at least some semblance of the traditions that we're so used to here. You know, still get to see the wing tee offense. Still get to hear the good old fight song.
That wing team, may it live long.
Definitely seen more teams alternate to the spread offenses in recent years, Menlo Atherton among those, but you still see a few teams that run the wing tee or double wing very efficiently. Like down at Aptos, longtime Mariner coach Randy Blankenship is just a master of the wing tee. There's a reason that the school with not a huge roster usually, not a ton of huge bodies, a lot of two-way players, is constantly a CCS finalist, or at least semifinalist. Something Burlingame can definitely relate to. In fact, I believe it was the year after we graduated, 2014, the Panthers were knocked out by Aptos in the section semifinals.
Here's the kick from Call. It is up, pretty good kick. It'll be returned by number 1 for Terra Nova. He makes it out to the 25, 30, and out to the 35 before being forced out.
believe that was Nathaniel Bendo, whose brother Raphael got the starts at quarterback last year.
Take over first.
Head coach Jason Piccolotti, now in his second season, described Bendo as their top skill player. And again, one of the many bloodlines that runs deep in this Terra Nova program, with quarterback Dominic Gordon another representation of that. His older brothers Nate and Anthony both started at QB. Both were also excellent baseball players. Anthony went on to play football at City College of San Francisco, and in 2019 even started at Washington State.
1st and 10 for Terra Nova. Here's a handoff, and that looks like it's just going to be good for a gain of about 3 yards, I would say. So it will be still a pretty long second down.
Bit of a generous spot. That scoring drive, by the way, took 1 minute, 57 seconds, 37 yards, 4 plays. The big carry, the 18-yard run by LaGuardia, and then Frankel, the 1-yard plunge to finish it off. The first scoring drive for Burlingame since week 1 of the season against Half Moon Bay.
2nd and 6. Another handoff, and quickly met in the backfield by number 55 for Burlingame.
Jake Johnson to get on the stop. His second tackle for loss already. He's plugged up the run game nicely.
Now, Ethan, is that Jake Johnson from the famous Johnson family of Burlingame football fame?
I am not sure of any bloodlines there, actually. I cannot confirm or deny that at this time. I don't think so. I haven't really seen any of his relatives in the building, but I could very well be mistaken, as crowds are spread out and people are wearing masks, which of course makes them less recognizable.
3rd and 9 for the Tigers. And this will be a bootleg out to the right, and dodges a tackle and taken down again. That's Jake Johnson. He has been all over the field in this first quarter. So Terra Nova with some offensive struggles early, and Burlingame truthfully trying to not just right the ship in this season, but a sort of extended period of downness to a Terra Nova team that historically they have struggled with.
That's correct. This is the 27th meeting all time. Terra Nova leads the series 15-10 with 1 tie, and the Tigers have taken the last 3 meetings, including both in the regular season and playoffs last year. Tigers beating Burlingame in the CCS Division 4, I believe it was, semifinal.
The punt away and very low. It'll squib on down to the Burlingame 34, and that is where the Panthers will take over with 4:23 remaining in this first quarter, up 7-0. I can personally remember a very tough loss. It was the fall of 2012, and a 48-0 Terra Nova victory in Pacifica in the fog. That was not my favorite day.
I remember I was probably watching baseball that night as the A's were in the middle of a good pennant run, and was checking the score and found out what in the world went on when it was posted the next day. And that team still managed to make it through to the playoffs. Had a great win over Aragon, ended up winning the 3rd straight Little Big game.
1st and 10, here's a pass. It's deep down the middle and caught by number 9 for Burlingame. That is Charlie Cook.
There is a flag down back at the 35. This may be coming back, but if it stands, would be a gain of about 31. But it looks like it is coming back.
Holding against Burlingame, and so that one will come all the way back.
10-yard penalty.
Cook made a name for himself very quickly and impressed on that play, getting behind the defense despite the play ending up getting negated. Cook called up from JV at the end of last season. First career catch goes for a 47-yard touchdown in Little Big game. Now junior, definitely a name to watch, not just this season, but when we get into the fall as well.
Ethan, that 48-0 Terra Nova game, that was the night of Barry Zito's Game 5 masterpiece against the St. Louis Cardinals in the NLCS.
I couldn't quite backdate that one. Okay, so then at that point, I guess as well, I guess we would have been in the American League Championship Series, which was between the Tigers and Yankees. Boy, distant memories now. Thinking about just the concept of Barry Zito being an active major leaguer, as if it wasn't all that long ago. Now he's performing music, been very active in terms of advocating for renewable energy.
For Burlingame.
Still very involved with both the A's and Giants.
Ethan, do you ever think of our conversations as being similar to those two old Muppets sitting in the theater?
I'd love to be as snarky as them. I believe their names are Statler and Waldorf.
Handoff, it'll be a run for Burlingame. That goes to number 25, Elijah LaGuardia. He gains a few. Not quite back to the original line of scrimmage, though, so still will be second and long for Burlingame.
One last thing on the subject of that 48-0 loss in shutouts. That was, until this year, the last time the Panthers have been shut out multiple times in the season. All that information courtesy of statistician Tyler Jamison, who is actually just across the turf over at Washington Park on the mic for baseball tonight. In fact, varsity baseball should be getting underway shortly if they haven't already. JV, a 1-0 win in 8 innings over Menlo Atherton in walk-off fashion.
Second and long for Burlingame. Here's a pass right out to the right. That is number 21, Kyle Sieben.
McGovern's pass is complete to Simon.
Third and 9.
And so he will almost, I believe, get back to the original line of scrimmage, which will make it 3rd and 10 for Burlingame, coming up with 2:49 and counting left in this first quarter. So, Ethan, let me ask you, with this being a season where there's no playoffs, you're Burlingame, you're 0-3, you're coming into this. What are you looking for out of your offense tonight?
To finish drives in the red zone in all 3 games, they've gotten down inside the 20 and then been unable to put drives away. It really dates back to the very first drive of the season with a missed field goal.
McGovern back to pass again, and it is just out of the reach of Kyle Sieben over on the right. So that will be a 4th down for Burlingame, and they are going to punt it away.
Something you don't see too much from this Panther offense. Back-to-back pass plays, even going to a shotgun a couple times.
And I guess if you're Terra Nova, you're starting out tonight. You get 3 games this season, and you gonna shock the world? You gonna play and have some fun? What are you looking to do if you're them?
You're obviously looking to win anytime you suit up the pads, anytime you go through the effort just to get out here, but you also want to take inventory and figure out where your program stands after so much time off.
A great punt away from Burlingame, returned by number 84 for Terra Nova. He only gains a couple, and the Tigers will take over at their own 28.
Nice coverage by Jackson Giovara, who was once again the lead tackler last week, had 11 stops, including 6 solo, and that loss to Menlo Atherton. It was a 42-yard punt by Ryan Call, who handles punting and kicking duties and will also occasionally spell McGovern at quarterback. We've seen both utilized in a 2 QB system this year so far, although so far tonight it's just been McGovern.
7-0 Panthers with 2:08 left in the first as Terra Nova takes over at their own 28-yard line. 1st and 10. Here's the snap. It'll be a pass out to the right. Flag on the play, but it is caught by number 1 for Terra Nova, who makes it out just past the 42-yard line. That is Nathaniel Bendo, but this one might be coming back.
They've been judging by the immediate reaction. We saw flags actually thrown by referees on both the near and far sidelines, so definitely coming back.
So it'll be a false start against Terra Nova, 5-yard penalty, and that will set them back to 1st and 15 from their own 23.
One of the things that I have appreciated about emptier stadiums this year is often actually being able to hear the referees make calls. It's been really nice because a lot of times there's a lot of confusion, especially with some of the rules that differ between high school, college, and professional football. Been able to get a much clearer picture on a lot of those.
Too wide, up back. Too wide, up back.
1st and long for Terra Nova. And a back to pass, and another penalty flag will come out. This one's going deep and out of the outstretched arms of Nathaniel Bendo. Let's take a look at what the referees call here. Terra Nova has struggled early with penalties tonight.
And again, it is their first game. Burlingame's in game number 4. Terra Nova, this is just week number 4 of practicing altogether. The Jefferson Union High School District was very restrictive on these matters, and at first wasn't even going to let them have a season. They've been able to finally get out and get these 3 games in.
5 yards.
So that will be another false start against Terra Nova.
Brings up 1st and 20.
It will be 1st and 20. It is. I would like Burlingame, to speak objectively, has struggled the last couple of weeks. But Terra Nova, if you're coming in and this is your first game, I do wonder, where it's interesting because I don't think practice you can only simulate a real game, I think, so much. So for this is their first game action in a year and a half.
Finally get to hit someone other than your own teammates. And for Burlingame, they've got the experience of having played SHP and MA the last 2 weeks.
A bootleg to the right, and that is just out of the outstretched arms and out of bounds. So Gordon is the quarterback for Terra Nova. Our wonderful PA announcer, John Horgan, has been kind enough to be right on top of it as as I break back into this for the first time in a very long time.
I'd like to wish Mr. Horgan a happy birthday just the other day. We'll let you guess what number birthday this is, but I can tell you this, he has aged gracefully. I hope to hold up as well as he does over the years.
I'll put my money on 29 years old. Penalty out again for Terra Nova, and that'll be another false start. So 5 more yards back.
Brings up 2nd and 25. Tigers.
Thank you. No problem.
Some of these issues with cadences and such for Terra Nova could be, like we mentioned, missing their starting center, Gabe Spratt. That's, especially if you're a program without a super deep roster, to lose your starting center really hurts. And it looks like, judging by the sideline, Terra Nova's got somewhere between 30 and 40 players suited up, although they have a few who don't seem to be in action tonight as well. I think some of that just requires getting medical clearance and such.
2nd and 25 for the Tigers. They send another man up the middle and a gain of a few. Looks like they got about 5-7 yards there.
And more laundry on the field. That was Justin Sang on the carry.
Sang the ball carrier.
Man, they're slow too.
A penalty flag is down.
And a quick correction, number 9 for Burlingame is Charlie Koch. Sorry about that, not Cook. So this will be interesting. A personal foul against Burlingame. So that will erase some of that false start yardage that Terra Nova's racked up over the last several plays.
15-yard penalty.
It'll be a 15-yard penalty for Burlingame, and still 3rd down.
Brings up 3rd and 4.
So instead of a 3rd and 20 scenario, you're now looking at 3rd and 4.
Ball right at the 35, and this suddenly opens up the playbook for Terra Nova. Could stick it on the ground, could try to pass to Bendo again. Those 3rd and short situations definitely offer a lot more creativity than if you were looking at 3rd and, what would it be, something like 18, 20?
So here we go, a big moment early on in this game, 35 seconds remaining in the first quarter. A handoff and met immediately by the teeth of the Burlingame defensive line. It will be 4th and short, and now a very big decision for the Tigers.
Sang the ball carrier.
Just a little louder than the other.
BBH, ready?
And the clock continues to tick, and it looks like they are going to go for it. Ethan, you like this move?
Well, it looks like they're going to have some time to discuss it as the clock is running down on the first quarter. Going to actually bring the quarter to a close. 7-0 Burlingame. Tigers will have some time to think about it before that 4th and 2 situation.
So that will bring us to the end of the first quarter, and it is 7-0 Burlingame. And a big 4th and 2 conversion, hopefully, for Terra Nova. right after this.
So far, the Burlingame run defense has looked very solid as Terra Nova keeps sending Fabiani Wyatt and lately Sang back at them. Really, all 3 games, the run defense has done a nice job limiting long gains, even facing some top rushers. The one exception was when they were in a situation where they pretty much had to sell out to get a stop short of the sticks against Half Moon Bay and ended up giving up a game-sealing 50-yard touchdown. But at that point, once he got past the first 5 yards, it really didn't matter. So really the one long run they've allowed all year. They've done a very good job despite not having tremendous size, have a lot of two-way linemen, and they've managed to be pretty tough up the middle nonetheless.
4th and 2 for Terra Nova.
So the clock rolls, and the second quarter beginning here from Burlingame High School in beautiful Burlingame, California, and they will punt it away. An interesting decision, and it will bounce right out of bounds at around the Burlingame 35. So pretty decent starting field position for the Panthers, not as good as their opening scoring drive, which put them up 7-0 in this game, but I think they will take it.
I believe that was Mason Mini punting for Terra Nova, though I can't tell for sure, as the white jerseys with yellow numbers are a little tough to read. I definitely would have preferred if Terra Nova could have gotten black numbers on these jerseys, but hopefully that's a change they make in the future. I remember they used to have black numbers on the white jerseys back in our days when we were just young lads.
Back in our days. Here's the handoff. And that is a big run for number 23 for Burlingame, Isaac Frankel. It will be enough for a Burlingame first down and almost out to midfield. So about a 14, 15-yard run right off the bat for the Panthers. Oh, forgive me, he's just a little bit short of midfield. It looks like about the 48. So that will be 13 yards.
Burlingame 48.
Starting to open things up a bit more for Frankel instead of sending him just straight up the middle, seeming to get some early success. They did it on the touchdown run, did it again here.
McGovern's handoff goes to number 25, Elijah LaGuardia. He will go around the end for a few and just about cut that yardage to go distance in half. So it will be 2nd and 5 for Burlingame. Ethan, I had forgotten just how cold it gets outside in April in Burlingame.
It was actually pretty temperate last night. I was over in the East Bay for the A's season opener and was very comfortable there. Only needed a light jacket in the later innings, but the breeze has definitely cooled things down on the peninsula since the early evening yesterday, and we're feeling that again here.
And that will be a flag on the play, and it looks like...
It's like the tight end on our near side here picked up early.
False start.
So another false start in this game. Seems like about the 25th false start between both sides. And that one will come back for Burlingame. So 2nd and 10 now for the Panthers.
For the lucky few of you who do have other commitments later this evening, which is hard to find in these times, but if you do, you're probably rooting for a nice quick game, and we have had a lot of run plays so far to stay at that pace, but flags will certainly help a game take longer.
2nd and 10 for the Panthers. Here's a bootleg out to the right, and that is not able to be handled by number 23, Isaac Frankel for Burlingame. And he's going to be slapping his head about that one for a bit.
They have indeed opted to once again use the 2-quarterback system, alternating between McGovern and Call. This is the first possession Call has played after McGovern handled the prior 2, including the short touchdown drive.
So about 10-20 left in this second quarter. And 3rd and 10 for Burlingame coming up. They send 2 men out wide to the right and 2 in the backfield. Here's the snap, shotgun, bootleg out to the right. That is Call, and that pass incomplete to number 20, Grayson Bouchard. So that brings up 4th and 10, and looks like it will be a punt situation for the Panthers.
for a team that doesn't pass much, they do have a pretty good variety of pass plays up their sleeve, usually involving some sort of rollout like this, unless you've got a very accurate pocket passer, which we've seen in the last few years, likes of Avery Jindro and Cameron Kaleda. You usually tend to see Burlingame opting to have their QBs roll out.
Snap a little bit high, but the punt away. It'll arch up and go down and return from Terranova around their 13-yard line and met hard and brought down.
There is a penalty flag down.
2 flags, in fact. Late one came in at the end of the play. Perhaps someone said something they weren't supposed to, or I really hope they're not calling something like unnecessary roughness on that tackle. Seemed like a pretty good, clean tackle to me.
You're very good. Better than Tyler. Nothing against him. I think it's 2 people.
Might have multiple penalties to sort out here. I believe that was Dylan Uter on the return. His brother Connor also on the Terranova roster. The return went for maybe 4 yards. But again, they've got multiple penalties to sort out here.
So the Zebras will discuss. I would throw to break, but I don't think we have any to throw to. And accordingly, well, Terranova broke their huddle, but I'm seeing no penalty calls come from the refs just yet.
Not even really an indication on who it's on. I think these, all right, they're marching it back up field. So it looks like we've got some sort of formation penalty on Burlingame and then a hold on Terranova. And it looks like these flags are going to offset, so we'll just re-kick.
Well, Ethan, I know what everyone really wanted to see was another punt. That's what I think when they tuned in tonight. They were like, well, we'll have 2 punts in a row. Thank you very much.
Reminds me of a famous video by one of my favorite sports journalists, John Boyes, about how the Chicago Bears flew to Seattle, punted on every single drive, and then flew home.
So the snap coming to call for punt number 2, and that is another flag. This one a high booming punt that will land just about the 26-yard line and bounce a little bit, surrounded by Burlingame and down at the 23. But the penalty flag's out. We'll see what this ends up being.
Came out right away, so you would assume maybe another formation penalty or someone moved, but they didn't blow it dead, interestingly enough.
False start against the Panthers.
It will be false start again against Burlingame. And Ethan, the third time I think will be the charm. This is my prediction of someone who put a little bit of money into AMC stock and since has pretty much lost everything he's gained, is that the third time's going to be the charm on this punt.
Didn't get in on the Dogecoin craze?
Did not get in on the Dogecoin craze. That was a bit too far out there for me.
I actually threw a few bucks at that. So far, it's mostly stayed stable, gone up maybe half a cent from the time I got it.
Punt number 3 from Call on the way. It's high and arcing and will land about the 26, surrounded by Burlingame again. That will be down around the 24, and no flags on the field. So send me the jackpot. 9:29 left in this second quarter of play, and Burlingame will maintain their 7-0 lead as Terranova takes over.
Looks like this will be spotted right around the 28-yard line, so 33-yard punt after all the flags and everything. You get to see just the importance of special teams in field position, like when it sets up a short drive like the one Burlingame had for the game's lone score so far.
One up wide for Terranova. It'll be a run and met immediately by the Burlingame defense.
Got maybe a yard or two there, if even that. I realized it was actually a 30... Yes, it was. It was a 38-yard punt, and they had started that drive at the 23. My apologies.
Tigers.
Got
2nd and 8 for Terranova from their 26.
Nice to see the Panthers having so much success in the trenches so far. For years, Terra just had a monster line and would just dominate teams up the middle.
That'll be a pass out to the right, being chased. It is high and picked off. That is number 11, Jackson Javara for Burlingame with the interception. And the Panthers take over the first turnover of the game.
Burlingame takes over.
Giavara's been a leader of this defense so far in the season. It has to be even more so tonight with Will Urich out injured. He has some sort of cast on his wrist. Wasn't able to figure out what exactly the specific injury is, but missing one of your top corners, just ask Giavara to go stop the run and the pass, and so far it's been no issue for him. He's been everywhere.
So 1st and 10 for Burlingame from the turnover 38, and that is a handoff to number 21, who is going to run up, take a cut, and make it almost to the 30-yard line. That is Kyle Sieben again.
Gain of 6. Second and
He'll gain
4.
6, and it'll be 2nd and 4 from the now 32 of Terra Nova.
This is the only PAL Bay Division game tonight. Got 2 more on the slate tomorrow. Menlo Atherton at Sacred Heart Prep, 2 o'clock, and then Half Moon Bay and Kings Academy play at 7 p.m.
That is another handoff. Number 25 for Burlingame will take it, cut back, and make it just about up to the 20-yard line. That is LaGuardia again. He has been probably the main ball carrier for Burlingame tonight.
Finally seeing some traction on offense, likes of which we really haven't seen from Burlingame all year, and it looks like we're going to get a timeout from Terra Nova here. Nice job by LaGuardia reading that hole to the right and then kind of turning at about a 90-degree angle or so, getting back to cut sort of parallel to the sideline. That was a really well-timed cut.
So, Ethan, this Menlo Atherton Sacred Heart Prep game tomorrow, these are the 2 teams in first in the league, both at 2-0.
That is correct. Even with Troy Franklin graduating from MA early to go up to Oregon, where he'll be suiting up for the Ducks, could become one of the best receivers that program's seen in a long time. MA is still loaded, as Burlingame was treated to last week. Wide receiver Jalen Moss is phenomenal. Good rushing tandem of Patello Vatuve and Johnny Barbie. That's going to be an awfully exciting game. It's usually a good one when MA and SHP get together, although did a little research today since I'll be over there tomorrow afternoon. You can find my notes on prep2prep.com. Found out that it seems like usually the games that are at MA tend to be the better ones. Hasn't been really a down-to-the-wire game they've played at SHP in a few years. Hopefully that changes tomorrow and we get treated to some very good football down there. Should be good quarterback play both ways as well, with MA's Matt McLeod and SHP's Teddy Purcell.
So it will be 1st and 10. Call to take a shotgun snap, 2 in the backfield, 2 split out wide to the left, 1 to the right, and now send 1 back out to the left. That's a catch out on the left side by number 9 for Burlingame, Charlie Koch, and the flags come out again.
Hall's pass is completed. Penalty flag is down.
Flags have been a constant, not just in this game, but most of the spring games we've seen, as teams have just had such little time to really get themselves in order. Even with some of the workouts the teams were able to do that were permitted over the offseason, it's been a struggle. And it's definitely given the refs a chance to get reacquainted after so much time off for them as well.
So a hold against Burlingame will set them back 10 yards, take them back to the Terra Nova 31, as they were very close to the red zone, but couldn't quite get there.
It's a 1st and 13, pardon me, 23.
So 1st and 23 now for Burlingame. This will be, you would think, a pass play, but we will see. Calls handoff, and that will be a gain of about 6 up to the 25.
Definitely been the best rushing I've seen out of Isaac Frankel so far this year. He looks so much stronger than he did just a couple of weeks ago, and I think that's just the effects of varsity experience paying off.
Gain of 8. 2nd and 15. Panthers.
So 2nd and 15 now for Burlingame. Call under center, 3 in the backfield. Here's a handoff, and that looks like Frankel again. He'll make it down to about the 15-yard line.
Frankel, the ball carrier.
So they spot it at the Terranova 16-yard line for a gain of 8 and 3rd and 5 now coming up for Burlingame. This is a key play early on.
And this is, again, that spot on the field where they've struggled so much this year. A sack wiped them out of the red zone last week, had an interception in the red zone, chance to right some of those wrongs here.
About midway through the second quarter, quick handoff, and could not get upfield was LaGuardia. He is met early and brought down by the Terranova defense. So
lost about 3 or 4, depending on the spot. Looks like a loss of about 3.
Loss of 2. 4th and 7.
They'll mark it down as a loss of 2. It'll be 4th and 7 for Burlingame, and they look like they are going to go for it here. Shotgun snap to Call. He bootlegs out to the left, and being chased, quick pass, and almost intercepted by the Terranova secondary. Instead, the ball lies limp on the ground, and the Tigers will take over on downs.
Looked like he was trying to go for Coke there. I believe that was Mason Minnie on the breakup, and despite his name being Minnie, he is one of the bigger guys on the field for the Tigers and definitely utilized his size advantage there.
Yeah. So Terranova takes over deep in their own territory. With 5:19 remaining in the second quarter, and they would love to put any points on the board before halftime, and a great opportunity to do it here. Put together a long drive, kill some clock, get some points on the board. Shotgun snap, 2 in the backfield, and that is a quick pass from Gordon, and right out to number 1, that is Bendo, for a very minimal gain, probably only 3 or 4 yards. It will be 4 yards, and they'll mark it 2nd and 6 for Terranova from their own 23. Ethan, this was easier when we were in the booth. Not that I'm lamenting our outdoors distanced setup, but it was warm in there, and
usually we're able to lay out things on the table.
I could hear
able
myself.
to keep things right in front of you. That definitely helped. Nice run here. That's Fabiani Wyatt.
Bounds. That is number 20, Fabiani Wyatt. And he will have enough for a Terranova first down.
First down, Tigers.
I do believe that is actually the first time tonight, and in turn, first time this season, the Tigers have moved the sticks, and it is their, I believe it's one of their biggest plays, a gain of 14. Yes, I do believe that is indeed their longest play. It's their longest play unless you count the 15 penalty yards tacked on by one late in the first quarter.
Yeah, we don't count those. We don't like to talk about those. There's a snap and a fumble, and right on top of it is the Terranova running back, Fabiani Wyatt.
The Tigers.
Again, having a backup center can do that to you. See, it's definitely loomed large for them. They still actually managed to technically turn that into positive yardage. They ended up actually getting 2 yards out of that.
Well, the San Francisco 49ers know all about the problems of a struggling backup center, or problems of a struggling backup at every position.
My Baltimore Ravens had struggles at the center position this year too, with the likes of Matt Skura and Patrick McCarry, so I can unfortunately relate all too well.
So Terranova, 2nd and 10. And a quick whistle with penalty flags down, and this looks like it will come back and be another false start against the Panthers, against the Tigers. One of those cats.
They're both large cats, good enough.
It is 2nd and 15.
So now 2nd and 15 for the Tigers.
Quick update from over at Washington Park. Varsity baseball now up 3-0 on Mills through 2 innings. Courtesy of Tyler Jamison. Normally would be here as our statistician, but he is a man of many talents. He's over there tonight. He'll be at Sacred Heart Prep tomorrow. He does a little of everything.
We are very socially distanced from Tyler in this moment. Give it about 2 blocks. 2nd and 15. Running out to the right is Gordon. Here's his pass deep down the field, and it is going to be broken up, and that will be a flag. So that looks like a pretty definitive call of pass interference, but we will see what the refs say, and that is a big chunk of yardage about to go to Terra. And they will indeed call it pass interference against Burlingame, so that will be...
I believe that's a 15-yard penalty. It's not a spot foul.
I believe it's only the NFL where it's a spot foul, correct?
I believe that is correct. I think college it's a maximum of 15 as well.
15-yard penalty.
Take him up to the 47, give him another fresh set of downs.
We can't be having those 50-yard Aaron Rodgers free plays at the high school level.
I've never been a fan of that rule in the NFL. You see people complaining a lot about the fumble out of the end zone rule, but I think the pass interference being a spot foul rule is a much bigger issue that needs to be fixed.
So 1st and 10 for the Tigers. They are at their own 47-yard line. Here's another handoff, and once again met right by the Burlingame defense. And that Burlingame defensive line has been, on the whole, pretty solid tonight at stopping the run.
So far all year the defense has been impressive. I mean, they've given up 57 points in 3 games against 3 excellent teams, including one that hasn't lost a league game in more than 2 years. We got a timeout here by Burlingame to stop the clock with 2:37 left in the half.
Brad can do it. Ready?
Philippopoulos gonna try to talk this over.
Interestingly, over on the scoreboard, which was upgraded around the time we were seniors, I forget the exact year, it might have been a bit after that, they're actually showing a graphic of a panther running around right now. They just switched back. That's a recent addition, I do believe.
That would indeed have been after my time.
I remember the scoreboard came in when the Burlingame Dragons, the soccer team, spent a season playing their home games here, and unfortunately they went by the wayside, but turned into some nice stadium upgrades, so I'd say that was a relationship that worked out in the long run.
I was reminiscing about those Dragons years very recently, because I remember they came and it was a very big deal, and they won the division in their first season. And then the 2 years after that, not as good.
It was a fun time, though. It's definitely something that a select few people have very vivid memories of. And for everyone else, it's just kind of a nice discovery, like, oh, wait a minute, we had a professional soccer team here.
2nd and 10 for Terra. Here's a snap. Running out to the right is Gordon, and off the hands of number...
Brings up 3rd and 10, Terra.
5, I think? Is that another Gordon? Or no?
No, that went off the hands of either 10 or 18. Again, it's really hard to tell with the yellow numbers on a white jersey, although these aren't the most illegible. I believe it was number 10, Maximiliano Gomez. But I remember when we were doing a game against Cappuccino back when we were seniors in 2013, and I remember those Mustangs had Vegas gold numbers on white uniforms that were just impossible to read, and the number font was really thin, too. Binoculars wouldn't even do us much good.
I've rarely felt older trying to read uniform numbers that I can't read.
Something that Tyler and I have had more than a few conversations about, actually.
3rd and 10, and the earthquake rumbles here at Burlingame. That's a pass, and very quickly caught by Terra. That looks like number 7, Corey O'Brien. And I think that'll be enough for a first down.
Might be just short as they haven't moved the sticks yet. May need to measure. That was another reception for Bendo, and they do give him the first down. At halftime, I will try to tally up his numbers. He has clearly been the lead receiver so far, and again, when I spoke with head coach Jason Piccolotti yesterday, he did say that Bendo is their best skill player, and he's definitely looked the part.
The Burlingame fans not happy with that spot. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 42. High snap and a handoff. And the second effort after the first contact will get a few more yards for Terra Nova, and they are very close to a first down once again.
Looked like it was going to be a pretty modest gain, but ended up turning it into about 8 yards thanks to that second effort, which got a nice rise out of the fans over on the Terra Nova side. Spectators still being limited to parents and close friends, just a handful of tickets given out to each player to distribute.
It's a very short 2nd and 3 now for Terra Nova. The snap to Gordon, and another handoff, and met and dragged down immediately. That was Ramirez and Johnson for Burlingame. And that will be, it looks like, another timeout.
This one being called by Terra Nova. So the Tigers will have 1 left, Burlingame will have 2, 1:09 left in the second quarter.
On the last play.
If you can get the stop,
We have a baseball score.
use a timeout.
In the second inning, Burlingame
You can take 2 deep shots
Mills, nothing.
and have a chance.
At some point, can you give a shout out to the crew? Soon my
So they just posted an update from the baseball game. It's 2-0 now, I believe. Burlingame.
I thought I heard 3-0 through 2 innings, but I can definitely get confirmation from that as soon as possible. Baseball, at least, will have close to their full season. The spring sports, which got wiped out early last year, end up being the ones that are able to go into the most full capacity possible out of all of them. And with almost all of them, other than badminton being outdoors, that's definitely easier to arrange than some of the others. Just a matter of getting field time.
So 3rd and 5 for Terra Nova as they look to put some points on the board before halftime. Snap to Gordon. One in the backfield. It will be a pass out to the right, and that will definitely be enough for a first down and run out of bounds after a very long gain.
Bendo again. He has just been everywhere so far. See where they mark him out. Looks like he got about 14. They'll put him at the 24. So fresh set of downs, exactly a minute left in the half.
Ball is at the Panthers 24.
Yeah. 1st and 10 for Terra Nova from the 24. 2 out wide to the left, 1 in the backfield. Here's the snap and a fake, and deflected, and they will rule that incomplete. So
I would think that could be
averted.
grounding as he threw that to a lineman rather than an eligible receiver. That could be grounding, or maybe, well, since he didn't catch it, I guess it wouldn't be ruled illegal touching. I'm surprised there's no flag here, though. I'm rather confused, and now we're getting a barrage of whistles, and we may have another timeout, or the refs are going to sort this out. The lineman who that ball kind of got directed towards, by the way, was one of 2 freshmen on the Terra Nova roster. That's Tome Veokiso. It was an issue with the clock, not an issue with the play, apparently.
So it'll be 44 seconds put on the game clock. And 2nd down. Here's a snap and the handoff. And he's up the middle, almost to the 15-yard line. So that is almost a first down, and that will be another Terra Nova timeout.
Terra Nova.
And while we have a timeout, Just want to give a quick shout out to our BTV crew, Sumaira Khan, Zoe Steinberger, myself, Derek Daniels, alongside Ethan Castle, and Christiana Carroll, led by the marvelous Steve Earle.
Fellow Eagle Scout Steve Earle, no less. Can always count on the Eagle Scouts when you need a hand.
Yeah, yes, you can. I was thinking the other day about your Eagle Scout ceremony. It popped into my head, and as one of the last things that I feel like I did before I moved away.
I guess, yeah, it would have been... Actually, that would have been in, I think, 2015. We did it a while after actually achieving the rank. Just a matter of getting everyone in the same place at the same time. Back when you could have people in the same place at the same time.
We just watched one for Troop 156 on Zoom like 3 weeks ago for 3 students. Four of our students.
Oh, wow.
They invited me on Zoom.
So 35 seconds left, and Terra Nova...
Not gonna get an anthem.
We'll see. It'll be... I can't even tell if this is typical field goal range. It's always a toss-up, I feel like, with high school kickers.
SHP had an awfully good one with Ronan Donnelly in the past few years. He's at Cal now. But with a lot of teams, you hope you can find someone off the soccer roster or one of your skill position players to do it.
Gordon back to pass, and he's getting chased around. Out to the left now, looking, throwing to the end zone, and caught! And that is a Terra Nova touchdown. No flags on the play.
Terrific pass rolling to his left off his back foot. You can see he's definitely taken some notes from his dad and his 2 older brothers who have played.
17 yards.
A 17-yard pass play for a touchdown with 20 seconds remaining in this first half. That is exactly what you dial up if you are the Tigers. And now the extra point to tie the game and make this a 7-7 game. So Burlingame will get the ball back with 20 seconds left and 2 timeouts. The extra point is up, and that is no good.
Is no good.
So 7-6
The score.
will be the score.
Burlingame 7.
Excuse me, will be the score.
6.
Again, it was hard to tell who had that pass as he was in the middle of a bunch of defenders, but I believe it was 84 for Terra Nova, Connor Uter. We'll try to get that confirmed later because it was an awfully nice grab and want to make sure to properly credit the young man who hauled it in.
So if you're Burlingame, you get 20 seconds, 2 timeouts. You could take 2 deep shots or you can take a knee. I've never really known Coach Phil to be the guy to take the 2 deep shots, but there's a first time for everything.
Would think unless they have very good field position, they'll probably take this into the half. Though they do have the 2 timeouts to work with. They also get the ball to begin the second half.
Giovara and LaGuardia.
How you doing? Are you
O'Brien will kick off for the Tigers.
So I believe Terra Nova's got a different kicker than they do punter. That would be Corey O'Brien. I believe it was Minnie on the punts. They try to get this thing teed up. It's not a particularly windy night, and yet we've seen the ball knocked off the tee a couple of times.
the ball? They want more cowbell. I need more cheerleaders out there.
So let's see. Here will be the kick from Corey O'Brien for Terra Nova.
Speak of the devil, it fell off the tee again.
Well,
The trees are not moving.
Ethan, sometimes that's just how it be.
I guess it's just enough of a breeze. Maybe it's just... Maybe we got a backup tee tonight.
Here's the kick. High and up and returned from Burlingame. And ooh, a tough hit, but a great second effort from LaGuardia. He is up to midfield, but a flag on the play.
Flags are down.
So let's see. Wow, LaGuardia took a hit, and what a second effort to put an extra 10 or 15 yards on that run.
He's a tough customer. Would be about a 34-yard return, but again, we'll have to wait and see what the flags do, and it looks like a block in the back. And considering the field position that they'll have, considering that they'll only have about 10 seconds, I would expect they'll just take this into the half.
I feel like, it's a good opportunity to take a knee. So 7-6 will be the halftime score.
Panthers take over 1st and 10.
Not
10 seconds remaining.
as bad as it has been for Burlingame in the last 2 weeks. Probably not what they were hoping for, but it's not.
Just another tight game with the Panthers and Terra, though. It looks like they are going to try to run something here out of the shotgun.
Well, let's see. Here is McGovern rolling out to the right and dodges 2 tackles, running forward, almost fumbles, and down around the 46. And that will be the first half. So Burlingame Panthers 7, Terra Nova Tigers 6. And we will take a very brief break. I'm going to button my jacket. We'll come back with some scores and talk at the halftime report on the Burlingame Panthers TV network. Okay.
Alright, you back off. You guys want to take a break? I'll do halftime. I'm just going to set that camera up and just do the cheerleaders. And then you guys can talk or whatever. Watch out for the mess.
Well, that was a rough first few plays, but I think we got there.
You just have to get more familiar with the players. Yeah. Until you get
God, it's cold.
Coach, feedback?
Is it on the cheerleaders? Is this camera on? On the screen over there?
I think so.
Yeah, hold on. Alright.
It's just not centered.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right camera.
I'll run through a few baseball scores during the halftime break, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. We can do the women's basketball.
Yeah, that too. Bauer had a no-hitter for 6.
No way, really?
Had, doesn't anymore.
Yes, I'll be your woman. Yes, I'll be your baby. Yes, I'll be whatever that you tell me when you're ready. Yes, I'll be your girl, wherever you lady. You ain't never gotta worry. I'm down for you, baby. Best believe that when you need that, I'll provide that. You will always have it. I'll be on deck, keep it in check. When you need that, I'ma let you have it. Send the drum like I'm beating day. I like the dirty rhythm you play. I wanna hear you calling my name like, hey mama, mama, hey mama, mama. They hit the drum like I'm beating day. I know you want it in the worst way.
Mom says, Diana says, you're doing great.
Mom's watching?
I guess so.
I'm sitting there freezing my flames out. I'm like, oh, I have a...
I know, I was like, I am really cold. Oh, my jacket's open and I'm wearing a t-shirt. My beanie from the Super Bowl I'd rather forget.
Ah, not the one I
Not the one that you want to remember forever. Hey, the Sharks are winning.
We're back on volume. We got the scoreboard is what you're seeing, but we're hearing you.
Back with you now with the halftime report brought to you by nobody. We are getting no money for this. We'll take you around some of the major sports and analyze a little bit of this game and what to expect from the second half. Leading off, the NCAA women's basketball tournament held their final four today. The Stanford women are now 30-2 after a 66-65 win over fellow number one seed South Carolina. They are on to the national championship game. And in the other game, number 3 Arizona holding a 53-44 lead over number 1 UConn. That game with 4:23 left in the fourth. UConn, of course, one of the storied programs in the sport. San Jose Sharks up 1-0 over the LA Kings. That game at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. 12:13 left in the second period. The San Francisco Giants up north in Seattle. They trailed the Mariners 3-1 at the end of the third. Buster Posey is homered for the second consecutive game after taking a year off. He is on pace to hit 162 home runs this year. That would smash the single-season record of 73 held by the Giants' own Barry Bonds. Warriors fell earlier tonight, 130-77. Ouch. Up in Toronto. All the way across baseball, the Dodgers currently lead the Rockies 10-4 in the bottom of the 7th. The White Sox lead the Angels 7-4 top of the 5th. The Astros up 5-2 over the A's in the bottom of the 4th. The Diamondbacks trailing in San Diego to the Padres 1-0 in the top of the 3rd. Orioles beat the Red Sox 3-0. And the Rays with a 6-4 win over the Marlins. In the NBA, the Atlanta Hawks up over the Pelicans 118-95. 4.5 minutes left in the 4th. Bulls trail in Utah 103-94 with just about 5 minutes left in that game. Suns up 73-50 over the Thunder at the half. Bucks up 60-53 at halftime over Portland. The Lakers up 65-53 at halftime over the Kings. The Rockets fell to the Celtics earlier tonight 118-102, and the Mavericks with a 99-86 win over the ever delightful New York Knicks. In the Valero Texas Open from TPC San Antonio in San Antonio, Texas, Cameron Tringali is the leader after 2 rounds of play there in the PGA Tour. He is at 9 under and set to tee off in that final group tomorrow at 9:55 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The men's basketball Final Four will be held tomorrow, Saturday, April 3rd. That first game at 2:14 p.m. Number 2 Houston and number 1 Baylor. And at 5:34 p.m., number 11 UCLA Bruins, a historic national powerhouse, but their first Final Four since 2008. They take on undefeated number 1 Gonzaga at 5:34. Both those games on CBS. And with a few stats from this game, here is Ethan Castle.
Yes, first let's touch on a couple of those things you mentioned in the scores around the world of sports. Some great names from that last UCLA team that had made the Final Four, including Prince, and he is technically a Prince, Luke Richard Mba Amute. It's been a while since they've been there. Guys like Russell Westbrook, Kevin Love have all come through. And as for that Dodger score you mentioned, Trevor Bauer had maintained a no-hitter through 6 innings. It was broken up in the 7th on a hit by Trevor Story. Since then, both Charlie Blackmon and Ryan McMahon have gone deep. As for what we've had here, Elijah LaGuardia, the lead rusher so far for Burlingame, as Isaac Frankel would be, but he had a couple of carries wiped out by penalties. LaGuardia with 53 yards on just 7 carries. Frankel has 18 yards on 3 carries, including Burlingame's lone touchdown. Nathaniel Bendo with 3 catches for Terra for 28 yards, and Connor Uter a 17-yard touchdown reception. Quarterback Dominic Gordon 4 for 9 for the Tigers with a touchdown and 45 yards passing.
I actually have plans because I'm going back to LA on the 11th, so next weekend I'm spending time with my family.
I've got to do the SI Sacred Heart game, but I will be able to do, I can do Little Big.
Oh, you're going back?
Yeah, I'm going back.
So you can do LBG on the 19th, that night, and the 16th.
I thought it was a Saturday at 11 o'clock.
No, they changed it. It's a Friday night.
Oh, really?
They updated the PAL schedule. We're doing a doubleheader on that Friday.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Which means that there's one more game on Saturday, so I was told we put it for Saturday.
So we just received a very interesting schedule update. So Burlingame next Friday.
Next Friday's Kings Academy.
They will play Kings Academy here, and then the following Friday, April 16th, will be a night game, Little Big game against San Mateo. And that is completely different from everything I've ever known.
I believe that'll be the first night game in Little Big Game history. One last little halftime stat to get you. Leading carry for Terra Nova, leading ball carrier is Dimitri Fabiani Wyatt. He's got 42 yards on 11 rushes, though got stopped 3 times in the backfield by Jake Johnson. Johnson leads Burlingame with 3 tackles for loss. Praxedes Ramirez also has 1 stop for a loss. Johnson, of those 3, includes 1 sack.
You have an extra roster? Just Burlingame.
Julia and LaGuardia are deep for Burlingame.
By the way, in that Little Big Game match, Burlingame will be going for their 11th straight win in the series. I cannot remember the last time they lost.
It was when we were 8th graders, actually. We weren't even in high school yet.
You were just wee pups.
I do, of course, a lot of the games in that streak have not been particularly competitive, though the 2019 and 2017 editions, which were both played at San Mateo, were. But the one that sticks out to me, and I'm sure to you as well, was the 2011 meeting with the goal line stand to win 33-28. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the game that inspired you to go out and play football the following year. Am I right?
It was up there. I was also peer pressured into it by some friends, but yeah, that I do have a very distinct memory of that, and that's one of the all-time greats. I'd put that honestly up there with any football game I think I've ever watched.
I've seen a couple other great ones that could compare to it, but it's definitely in that upper echelon, along with some of the Sarah-St. Francis rivalry. They actually play tomorrow afternoon over at Sarah at 1:30, so between that and MA against SHP, there is some very good Saturday afternoon football in April of all times.
As someone who has never seen his favorite pro NFL team win a Super Bowl, I don't have a lot of great games to go on that immediately spring to mind. So, but we'll get to the 49ers in a few minutes because I do want to talk about that blockbuster trade. We'll get to that in a little while. But first, we're going to kick off the second half. And the third quarter about to begin here. It is Terra Nova who will kick off to Burlingame, and Burlingame holding a very slim 1-point lead. Ethan, what do you expect to see out of Burlingame to open the second half?
Try to see probably more of those runs to the outside that they've had success on. LaGuardia has really done a nice job. This has definitely been his sharpest game of the year. Really just see more strong carries from him and Frankel, and if Johnson can keep anchoring the line, they could be able to really control the line of scrimmage, maybe open up a multi-score lead, and then really dictate the clock with an offense that can really churn up time when they get down to it.
So they'll put 12 minutes on the clock. And here's the kick. High and arching, and it'll be fielded by number 11 for Burlingame, who is down just about the 25-26 yard line. That is Jackson Javara.
I've got to say, as we're set up here outside, it's a little tough trying to look at my notes and such, as there's really minimal light where we are. The field's well lit. That's never been an issue here, but with the trees casting their shadows and giving that distinctive eucalyptus smell, it can be a little bit hard to actually see my notes, and my handwriting's not very good to begin with.
There used to be a set of lights right above us, I swear. I don't know where it went, but it's not there now. Here's a handoff to number 21 for Burlingame. He is out around the edge and out of bounds, just about the 37-yard line.
Although, hang on, we've got an injury at the end of the play. The ball carrier was Kyle Seiben, and I think he's injured as well. I haven't seen him return to the huddle, or return really from the sideline at all. So I believe he is the one who's down. So trainer Matt Smith and company will be head over there. Looks like a gain of about 13. Matt Smith, I believe he's been around these parts longer than we have. He's been head trainer for as long as I can remember, certainly.
Matt Smith has the shine. He's been around. If you walk down that old trophy case, you see that 1923 champion tennis team? He's in that photo.
1923, I believe that was back when Burlingame was still the Burlingame branch of San Mateo High School, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was around 1927 or so that they became their own program. Keep looking around that Major League scoreboard while we're at it. It's so nice to have baseball back, and it looks like, just a couple of notes, all of a sudden, Coors Field has struck again. Back-to-back homers. The Rockies have hit 4 homers this inning and have cut the Dodger lead to 10-6. David Price now pitching out of the bullpen for LA. White Sox leading 7-4 in Anaheim. Jose Abreu hit a grand slam. And the Giants trying to rally in the top of the fourth, currently trailing 3-1, but they've got 2 on with 1 out, and Darren Ruff headed to the plate. Pitching matchup over there is Johnny Cueto and Yusei Kikuchi, a couple of seasoned veterans. Sieben has been helped off over to the sideline. He seems to be all right. It might have been one of those things that just hurt, especially when it first happened, but he seemed to get off the field all right. He's going to be checked out by the trainers, but at least for the moment, he doesn't seem to be in any sort of devastating pain.
He was able to jog off under his own power, so that is a welcome sight for sure. Here is another handoff, and a Burlingame run up to about the 42.
Frankel, the ball.
No
First carry of the half for
water
Frankel.
coolers on the sideline, and that is probably for the best.
2nd and 7. Panthers.
Be 2nd and 7 for Burlingame from their own 41-yard line, just about a minute into this third quarter of play here at Burlingame High School. The sun has gone down. It is very dark, and it is not warm at all, in case you were wondering.
Flag, I think someone... must have been too many men. I'm not sure who it's on. Whoever can count to 12 the fastest, let us know. Or hold up a moment here. This looks like more than a 5-yard penalty. I guess it wasn't too many men, and I would have been surprised if it was, as neither team had made any changes. It looks like it's an unsportsmanlike conduct foul on Terra, I think.
The Tigers, that's 15 yards. And
Terra player either said the magic words,
the ball is at the Tigers' 40.
or maybe he tried to sneakily pick up the ball and re-spot it a couple inches. Couldn't quite tell what the referee said it was. We could tell which player it was, but we'll save him the public shaming.
And instead, it'll be 1st and 10 for Burlingame. Another handoff. And that looks like LaGuardia again. He will be taken down in the backfield.
LaGuardia, the ball.
One of the first times all night the Tigers have had any sort of answer for him. He's been able to get steady yardage almost every time, but got pushed back for a loss of 2 on that occasion.
2nd and 12. Panthers.
So the loss of 2 will make it 2nd and 12 for Burlingame. We'll talk it over for just a moment. So McGovern breaks the huddle. He is back under center. It was called towards the end of the first half, and now it is McGovern again. 2 in the backfield, 1 split out wide down on the right. Here's a run to the right and a pass from McGovern. It is caught by number 9 for Burlingame, who cuts back to the 20 and down to the 15. That is Charlie Koch. And down to the 15-yard line, a gain of about 32 yards. And a fresh set of downs for the Panthers.
And unlike the earlier completion, this one will not be taken out by a holding penalty. It's a gain of almost exactly 30, longest gain of the night for Burlingame. And again, I really liked what I saw from Koch last year as a deep threat, and he's shown that again here in this spring season.
From the 16, they hand it off to LaGuardia, trying to catch the Tigers a bit off balance, and LaGuardia looks like he may have gained a couple. So still second and about 8 or 9 yards. Panthers are definitely moving up tempo now. McGovern sends 1 man out wide to the left and 2 in the backfield. Here we go, 2nd and 9. Here's a handoff. LaGuardia, excuse me, that was Frankel who took it there for a gain of another couple, which will bring up 3rd down. 3rd and 8. Ethan, should they fail to convert, would you consider this a makeable field goal distance?
Yes, against Halfmoon Bay Hall, he missed one from, I believe, only 21, but he also made from about 30, so this would definitely be within his range, and he's shown the ability to knock the ball deep on the 2 kickoffs tonight as well. So I would say definitely within range, just a question of, do you prioritize risk versus reward? It'll still be a 1-score game. All comes down to really what you're asking of the defense, I think, more than the offense, so long as you don't lose colossal yardage here, knock on wood.
So McGovern, and he'll roll out to the left. And sacked in the backfield is McGovern. He was rolling out to the left. The pocket completely collapsed. That brings up 4th down.
McGovern is sacked for a loss.
That colossal loss I said they needed to avoid. Speak of the devil. Didn't knock on wood hard enough, or at least the metal bleachers here. There is wood from the eucalyptus trees, but if you knocked on that, your hands would start to smell.
Even with that kind of announcer's curse, maybe we shouldn't have put any money in GameStop.
I didn't. Again, I was just on Dogecoin.
All right, so the Panthers are going to go for it on 4th and 19 from the Terra 23. Let's see what happens. Here's the pass from McGovern to the end zone and caught. That is number 9, Charlie Koch. The second touchdown catch of the night for Burlingame. And that will make it a 7-point lead with the extra point still to come.
Personally, I would say go for 2 here. You get the conversion, all of a sudden it's a 2-possession game. It looks like they are just sending out the field goal unit. Terrific pass to Koch.
4th and 19 from the 23. And that kick is up and just inside and good. So that will make it 14-6 Burlingame. What a call. What a play call. I'm blown away.
A situation where the defense knows what you're doing. They know you're going to throw it deep. You've really got to come up with a creative route or just have a receiver that can outrun the defense and get free. And fortunately, Charlie Koch has that speed, that acceleration, that quickness, and he managed to do it there. Find himself open in the middle of the end zone, and it is indeed an 8-point Burlingame lead with 7:14 left in the third.
So a couple nice runs. The unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which is 15 yards. And then the 23-yard 4th down touchdown catch from Charlie Koch.
Terrific play by McGovern. Remember, this isn't his only top sport. He's also one of the top golfers in the area. Won a few awards there. Was recognized in the football season preview by the San Mateo Daily Journal. It looks like Nate Mollett, longtime Daily Journal reporter, is in the house tonight.
Here's the kick from Call to be returned by Terra. It'll be bounced down to the 15 and gets a block. Return guy out to about the 32-yard line.
Nice block by Bendo, who usually see him with the ball rather than setting up for another man. I believe that was Connor Uter on the return. If that was picked up at about the 15, which I believe it was, I'll trust your judgment, that would be about an 18-yard return.
Ethan, I just want to apologize very quickly to our viewers for my very bad Bill Murray and Caddyshack impression on the last play.
You know, with limited crowds back at sporting events, how long will it take? How long will it take until we get 30 shots of Bill Murray at a Cubs game? Because you have to remind everyone that he is indeed a Cubs fan.
Running play from Terra, and they are just about out to their 40-yard line. Fabiano Wyatt with the carry that time, and it will be 2nd and short, 2nd and 4.
He had a very busy first quarter. They went away from him a bit in the second when they started going out to the passing game more, and it seems like just having that passing option has opened up the middle, stopping Burlingame from stacking the box as much, and it's opened up some room for both Fabiani Wyatt and Sang.
They'll run it again, and that tackle will be made by number 19 for Burlingame. That is McGovern. Wow. Quarterback showing his skills on both sides of the field.
When you've got 30-some guys on the roster, you're going to need guys to pitch in 2 ways, and that's kind of been the way it's been at Burlingame the last few years. Haven't had quite as many players as we had in previous years, but this coaching staff has done a great job keeping these guys in shape. I remember last year, or within the last few years, might have been 2017 now that I think about it, there were stretches where they barely had 20 guys to practice, and you would have to have coaches actually taking the field with the scout team, and still they've managed to make it work with limited numbers, which is something that a lot of programs have had to deal with, as at most public schools, other than a few, roster sizes have gone down. The private schools have largely remained exempt from that.
Third and short for the Tigers. Here's Gordon's pass, and it is deflected right off the hands of Terranova and falls incomplete. So that will make 4th and short. And an interesting decision coming up. I would think they would punt, but you never know.
Looks like they are sending out the punt team, although definitely fake punt territory. You wouldn't be backed up too deep into your own end if it went awry.
And as our 5th earthquake of the night subsides, here is the punt from Terranova. Not incredibly high, will land at about the Burlingame 40, bounce backwards and out of bounds. And that is where the Panthers will take over with 5:24 remaining in this third quarter.
I believe, and again with the number font, it's hard to tell, but I believe that was actually number 8, Lloyd Basnio, punting rather than number 9, Mason Minnie. Would be a lot easier if Terranova had black numbers instead of gold, but they'll have to. Hopefully they'll address that in this abbreviated offseason. It'll be one of the interesting things is to see how teams handle such a short offseason with the turnaround to the fall, a time it hopefully, we'll be able to get full student sections and crowds and the like by then.
I think they bring in the Fab Five for the uniform redesign. That's what I think they should do. All right, and another run play from Burlingame. That will be Frankel with the carry, and he gets a couple. So it'll be 2nd and 8 from the Burlingame 43. It looks like the 44 from here, but I don't know. I feel like tonight I've been proven I can't really see anything in this helmet.
It's a little tough when you've got such a huge midfield logo. I mean, the giant panther head stretches from the 40 to the 40. It's 20 yards. That's as big as just about any midfield logo at any level of football I've ever seen. College, NFL, you name it.
McGovern rolling out to the left, and a pass down the middle. It is caught, and that is Charlie Koch, the hero of the last drive, will have enough for a Burlingame first down.
Looks like we got an injury for Terranova as they move the chains. Player seems to be pretty mobile, though he is on the ground. Maybe just a cramp, which, of course, could happen, especially when it's your first game in more than about a year and a half, roughly. So completely understandable for those things to happen, guys, to tense up, especially on a chilly night like this. Although it's not like these kids are playing in elements they aren't used to. They're no strangers to cooler weather. It can still take its toll on you. The last play went for a gain of about 9 by my unofficial count.
So an injury timeout. And while we have a moment, or maybe we don't have a moment, looks like they're going to go back on the field.
Looks like that was Justin Sang, the injured player, though I can't tell for sure. We do have breaking news out of the state of Texas, where it'll be an all Pac-12 Women's National Championship game. Arizona led wire to wire. They defeat Paige Bookers and the Yukon Huskies 69-59. It'll be Arizona going up against Stanford in an all Pac-12 National Championship game. A Stanford team which has some Bay Area representation. Haley Jones from Mitty, former #1 overall recruit in her class, and Hannah Jump of Pinewood, a private school that has excelled in girls basketball for a long, long time. A couple of ties to Burlingame, actually, within that. Pinewood's coach, former Burlingame coach, Doc Shepler, also known as Jeremy Lynn's shooting coach, also coached Burlingame postman Kyle Schaefer from the class of 2011, team that won a school record 27 games.
1st and 10 for the Panthers. Oh, and dodging the tackle and going forward for another first down. That is going to be number 11, Giovara. So another Panther first down. And Ethan, just back to that really quick. Stanford, Arizona for the women's national title. That is not a combo I thought was even likely or possible.
You think
most years it's UConn, Baylor.
UConn, Baylor, Notre Dame, although now that Muffet McGraw, one of the best names in sports, has retired, the Fighting Irish not quite as strong.
First and 10 for Burlingame. Here's a handoff that'll go to number 21 for the Panthers, Simon, who looks to be fine after he was injured on the last drive. Or was it earlier on this drive? Time is an illusion in this pandemic.
That was on the prior drive, because that was his first carry of this drive. Yes, it was on the prior drive, the one that resulted in eventually the McGovern to Coke touchdown.
That would have been a very quick turnaround for how he was jogging off the field, but glad to see he is in fact okay. So it'll be 2nd and 6 from the 31 for Burlingame. They send 2 out wide to the left and 2 in the backfield. McGovern rolling out to the right. The pass, it is caught by 23 Frankel. He is moving, and brought out of bounds just past.
They tried that play earlier. The pass was a little underthrown off Frankel's hands. This time, hit him right in the chest. Room to run, first down.
First down, Panthers.
I did not know they had upgraded the rumble capacity of the bleachers while we were gone.
I think it was ever since they redid this, right around, I believe it would have been right after we graduated, right around 2014, I think is when this was done. And with the metal floors, you can really feel that. And just a few people can in turn make a lot of noise.
That's another handoff to Frankel, or no, it is Frankel. I did hear that correctly.
Gain of 6 yards.
And a gain of 6, so it will be 2nd and 4, now from the 23.
Got more whistles here. Refs have had a chance certainly to exercise those tonight. I think it's just going to be a quick player that needs to be subbed off, maybe for a uniform issue. By the way, we don't have the names of the officials with us right now. I know Mr. Horgan does in the broadcast booth, but we would like to extend our gratitude not only to them, but to the officials working all sports right now. They're stretched thin in a normal year, and now with so many sports running concurrently, there's a lot of overlap between football and basketball refs, baseball umpires, and they are stretched thin right now. Some leagues have combated this with a lot of Thursday and Saturday games. Either way, our appreciation goes out to these refs for taking their time to help make this all possible, this sort of shotgun wedding of a season.
And the flags come out early with the handoff to Frankel. So that one looks like it's going to come back.
Must have been an illegal shift or something of the like, as it came out so quickly.
Illegal shift.
They do indeed rule it an illegal shift. Ethan, jackpot winner for you.
5-yard penalty.
The Ravens offense had more than a few of those issues this past year, so I can unfortunately, again, relate from experience, and I can also understand why 49ers fans got so tired of Greg Roman as their offensive coordinator.
It's true. He was not fun. Not fun to have around. Oh, it's 3rd and 11? How about you run it up the middle again?
Reminds me of the first NFL game I ever attended, a 2007 Ravens-49ers game. The Ravens won 9-7, but constantly they were throwing for 6 yards on 3rd and 8. It was a struggle.
Here's 2nd and 9 for Burlingame. McGovern pass down the right-hand side, and that flag will come out. The ball popped out incomplete, but a pretty clear flag for pass interference.
There is a penalty on the play.
Should be the second pass interference called tonight for either side. For both sides combined. The second one. There was one against Terra earlier. No, there was one against Burlingame earlier.
Looks like they're going to have to spot this half the distance. They're going to spot the ball at the 11, and that will be a fresh set of downs. Remember, there are no automatic first downs in high school, a rule that, when it was first brought up to me, I thought was rather silly, but the more I think about it, the more I like it. Because, for example, in the NFL, you have, a 5-yard defensive holding penalty on 3rd and 30. You needed to get 30 yards, but you only got 5 off this penalty, and yet we're going to give you a fresh set of downs. It's just kind of counterintuitive to the entire concept.
McGovern under center. He'll take the snap and a handoff to number 23. That's Frankel, and it looks like he's going.
Frankel, the ball carrier.
There was a fumble?
think the refs are saying the ball was down, though. Terra Nova's arguing adamantly that they got it. I believe Bendo ended up coming out of the pile with it, but I think it will stay with the Panthers. Ends up being a gain of about 8.
Gain of 8.
Boy, they avoid a major gut punch there.
Second and 2.
With the level of red zone turnovers they've had this year, that would have been absolutely devastating.
I knew I should have brought my binoculars for this one. Second and 2 with the third quarter winding down from the 3. Here's McGovern. Roll out to the left. Pass is going to be caught. That's Frankel, and he is in for the touchdown, Burlingame. And that will make it 20 points on the board for the Panthers.
Doubling their season total. Second time Frankel has found the end zone tonight. We're going to have some sort of unsportsmanlike flag after the touchdown. We'll wait and see who that's going to be on. It'll probably be tacked on the kickoff unless they choose to enforce it on the PAT.
So you can mark that down as 20-6 now, Burlingame, with 8 seconds remaining in the third quarter and the extra point on the way. The penalties have loomed large in this game, both early on with the false starts and then on some big unsportsmanlike conduct and pass interference penalties by Terra Nova on each of Burlingame's scoring drives.
It is going to be an unsportsmanlike flag on the Panthers, so that'll be enforced on the kickoff. Call to try the extra point here first, and then they'll probably be kicking off from their own 25, I believe.
Kick is up, and that one's good. So now a 15-point lead for Burlingame with 8 seconds left in the third.
And with that, the Panthers have more than doubled their scoring totals from the prior 3 games. Testament to these guys not giving up when they could have easily had their spirits broken. You have back-to-back games against the 2 strongest teams in the league. You get shut out twice in a row, and in a season where there are no playoffs to fight for, it will be very easy to just mail it in, and they haven't done that. They've come out fighting tonight, and it's finally paying off in terms of some tangible rewards.
And I do think, even with the no playoffs, even with the waiting until April, these guys, when the ball, when it all comes down to it, when the ball is on the line, they're just happy to be playing football.
Oh, absolutely. Once you strap the pads on, a lot of the other big picture stuff goes out the window, and you've got a game to win. I think that applies no matter what the situation is. I've seen teams playing at the end of a season with no playoffs in sight. You still want to win what's in front of you. You go through the effort, you put on the pads, you put on the helmet, you go out to practice all week, you try to balance that with schoolwork, which can be even tougher now with distance learning, and you want to go out there and have something to pride yourselves on, and they have certainly done that tonight.
So it will be Ryan Call to kick it off for the Panthers. And returned by Terra Nova to the 45, and brought down just at about the Burlingame 45-yard line. A good, solid return into Panther territory as Terra Nova looks to mount their comeback.
There did appear to be a flag that came in at the end of what was a pretty nice return, I believe, by Uter. At least I think that was Uter. And yes, the laundry is indeed out there. And they are just going to have to discuss this.
So a personal foul and a horse collar tackle that will be called against Burlingame. And that yardage will be added on to the end of what was an already promising return. So what started out as, oh, that's not a very good coverage of that kickoff, turned into now a great scoring opportunity for Terra Nova, which will lead off the fourth quarter. It is now 21-6 Burlingame, and that will be the quarter break. Ethan, as we enter this fourth quarter, what are you looking for out of Terra Nova in this final 12 minutes of play?
Can they keep it going through the air? They actually did a very good job on that drive where they scored right before the end of the second quarter, but they've also been picked off once tonight. The interception was by, I believe it was by Giavara? Yes, it was Giavara with the interception. See if they can move the ball in the air. When you're down 2 scores, you're going to have to rip off some big plays, and the easiest way to do that is, of course, through the air. Before we start this fourth quarter, one last little connection with Stanford women's basketball, who, as we mentioned, they beat South Carolina by 1 tonight to advance to the national championship game. Haley Jones, their top player who went to Midi, her father, Patrick Jones, was the head coach of the Santa Cruz team that Burlingame boys basketball beat for the 2013 CCS Division III championship game. So it all truly comes full circle. The coach of the team that Burlingame beat in that championship game, his daughter went on to be one of the top women's basketball players in the entire country and will now play for a title.
1st and 10 for Terra Nova. It'll be a handoff up the middle. And a gain of, well, excuse you, Mr. Train. A gain of about 5 or 6. Or 3.
2nd and 7.
It's a tough angle from here.
Tigers.
Looks like he got about 3. They'll call it 2nd and 7 or so. Yes, it was Sang on the carry that time. Sang kind of the number 2 back behind Fabiani Wyatt, a role he also held last year.
Ethan, do we know when that women's national championship game will be?
Sometime Sunday evening. I forget the exact time. Sometime around, I think might be a 3:30 start, because I think Sunday night baseball's later than usual, which I believe will be White Sox Angels.
2nd and 7 for Terra Nova. And dodging a tackle is Gordon, rolling now out to the right, pass down the field, and in and out of the hands of the Terra Nova wide receiver.
Believe that was intended for Uter. Yes, I can clearly finally see that that is indeed a number 84 jersey.
Brings up 3rd.
You can clearly see that?
Yeah.
Tigers.
I'd say my contact lenses, which I got updated a few months ago, are doing their job for the most part. I think it's easier to tell he's the one with the pink gloves. I think moving forward, for those of you watching at home, or wherever you may be watching, if you're having a small but responsible watch party within guidelines, look for the pink gloves. That's Uter.
So now 3rd and 7 for Terra Nova from the Panther 29. Shotgun snap. Back is Gordon. A deep pass going for the end zone and just out of bounds. The coverage by number 21, Sybin for Burlingame. That'll bring up 4th and 7.
And between field position and being down 2 touchdowns plus a conversion, this is an obvious 4th down situation where you're keeping the offense on the field. You're not bothering with the possibility of any sort of kicking game. The only kicking Terra Nova would like to see are extra points and kickoffs moving forward.
And Burlingame, regardless of whether they get the ball back here or in the near future on their next possession, they're just going to try to run out and knock off as much clock as possible. 4th and 7 for the Tigers. Big play here, and that will be a false start against Terra Nova.
False start. Tigers, 5 yards.
As they had a receiver go just a bit early up towards the top of your screen.
12, Terra Nova.
Once again, we want to thank our BTV camera crew under the direction of Mr. Steve Earle. Amazing that just a few years ago, the broadcasts you had for high school games were so much more rudimentary. We were really just making it up as we go. And now almost every game is being live streamed, which is especially necessary when crowds are limited like this.
So now, a 4th and 12. Here's Gordon rolling out to the left, being chased. Here's the pass, and just high and out of bounds. So a turnover on downs, and Burlingame will take over at their own 34. Yeah, we felt we were definitely making it up as we went along. It seems much more planned now. I'm still making it up more or less as I go along. But the difference is now there's an incredibly competent team around us. So
we're definitely not the ones that have to pull all the strings, set up our own equipment and things like that. And it's just nice to have the resources to be able to do this and to get these kids a chance to have people, whether it's because of these circumstances or say you've got family in another state, being able to follow these games has been just such a nice addition that it would have been really great if we had had that years ago. I know that I would have, during all the shutdowns, gone back and watched a whole bunch of old games had they been archived.
1st and 10 for Burlingame. Here's a handoff. And up to about the 35-yard line. So a gain of maybe a yard. Looked like LaGuardia again.
LaGuardia, the ball carrier.
Couldn't quite tell at first if that was him or Frankel as it went straight into the pile, but yes, that did appear to be LaGuardia's carry.
Panthers.
So 2nd and 9, and they are going to take their sweet time, up by 15 with a little over 10 minutes to go.
In my first few years watching high school football, when I pretty much only watched Burlingame football, I just was under the impression that every high school football game was as quick as these guys typically play, with a run-heavy scheme, relatively clean, few penalties.
2nd down, here is McGovern passing out to the right and down and past midfield, making the catch is Giovara. He has been all over the field for Burlingame tonight, and right there, a catch for a 1st down. The ball will be spotted at the Terranova 46, so make that a...
Burlingame.
What's 15 plus 4?
19.
19-yard completion.
Our apologies to the wonderful math teachers we had here. The math department here was excellent. Our skills are just a little rusty. That was tight coverage by Justin Quinn, and yet Giovara still managed to haul that one in.
Miss Kreppel, Miss Martinez, I apologize. I've let you down. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Handoff and met immediately in the backfield, dropped for a loss, is number 25, LaGuardia.
LaGuardia, the ball carrier.
Gosh, if only they had another running back with Kennedy.
Hey, they failed so badly, Miss Kreppel now is
Loss of 2.
and Miss Martinez left, so.
2nd and 12, Panthers.
Looked like Frank Ward and Luke Avery in on the tackle. When I spoke with Terranova coach Jason Piccolotti yesterday, he said that Ward has been a nice introduction. He and his family moved up here from Los Angeles, and he also noted that Avery was their top returner on defense. Had to fill a couple holes there after graduating the likes of Vlad Romashko last season.
2nd and 12, another handoff to LaGuardia, and he is dropped for another loss of a couple more. So now you're looking at a very long 3rd and long.
Loss of 2.
Because our game right now is just approaching the 2-hour mark.
Has it been that long already? My, how the time flies.
And again, when I was first introduced to high school football, I thought all games were at this sort of pace. Then after seeing a few other schools play, it's like, no, you're usually in for 2.5, 3 hours.
McGovern back to pass on 3rd and long. The pass out to the right and deflected. And that's going to be, I believe, an interception.
I guess the ball stayed in the air. It was tipped by Rylan Jimenez. Not sure who ended up actually coming away with the interception. When I get down on the field to get quotes for my article post-game, I will be sure to check and credit that young man properly. Tigers will take over at their 38. Still 7:57 left.
The ball is at the Terranova.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, and that's a play that, I mean, it would have, had it just been a regular incompletion, would have been a punt on the next play. But it's probably a good 20 net yard difference and save a few seconds.
Gordon back to pass. He'll give a short pass, and that ball comes out. We'll see how the officials rule it. It looked like the receiver had made forward progress.
They are crediting this as a fumble, but I believe Terranova ends up retaining possession, but it turns what would have been a gain of about 6 into a gain of about 2.
Gain of 2 yards. Second and 8.
So that will make it 2nd and 8
The ball is
from the 39.
40.
or from the 40. 7:20 left to go. Gordon back to pass. It'll be a short pass out to the right. Caught by number 1 for Terra, who's going to make it all the way forward for a first down just past midfield. That is Bendo again.
First down.
That's when you're throwing a screen, that's the exact sort of way you want to hit him. Get something going, get him open, get him in stride, and then you can really start making the move like he did there. He was really able to find the seam and cut upfield.
So now just under 7 minutes to play, and a 15-point deficit faced by Terra. They send 2 receivers down to the right, 1 man in the backfield. Here's Gordon with a shotgun snap. Back to pass. It'll be a short pass out to Bendo again. He is forced out of bounds after a gain of a couple. Looks like it will be about 2nd and 7-ish.
Clock will keep rolling, at least for the moment. I think the refs now are trying to say, no, you should have stopped the clock. I think. Are they going to put some time back on here or just kind of play it by ear? I think they're just going to play it by ear.
Gain of 3. 2nd and 7.
In which case, it'll be 6:25 to go.
Terra sends 1 man up to the top, 1 out towards the bottom. Out wide to the right, 1 in the backfield. Gordon, shotgun snap, throws it, and it's caught. And down around the 37-yard line of Burlingame.
First down, Terra.
And another Terra first down.
I believe that was Uter on the receiving end. The pink gloves help him stand out.
Got him pink gloves, Uter. Pink gloves, Uter. It's really easy once you remember it. Six minutes left to go now for Terra. They split 1 out wide right, 2 to the left, and 1 in the backfield. Gordon in a shotgun takes the snap, drop back to pass, throw out to the right, and tackled very quickly by number 25, LaGuardia.
Complete to Uter.
And that is Uter again with the pink gloves.
First time I've really seen LaGuardia factor in on defense like that. Again, with Uric out tonight, everyone's got to step up a bit. Got to plug guys into different roles. And on a team with a roster of 30-some guys, you're going to have to get guys playing both ways. And LaGuardia definitely rising to the occasion there.
Well, LaGuardia is a junior. He's got 1 year left. If the Panthers can find a couple running backs, Kennedy and Newark, to pair up with him, you'll have a full tri-state area backfield there. Here's Gordon from the shotgun on 2nd down. Pass out to the left. Looks like Bendo. And he's down just inside the 25-yard line with just under 5 minutes to play.
It took me way too long to get the LaGuardia Kennedy Newark pun, and I am very sorry.
But here's the thing: is I'm glad you finally got it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was thinking back to more other people named Kennedy, because I remember Andrew Kennedy was on the roster back when we were in school, and I believe a year after. I think he was a year younger. So it took me a minute, but need that, and you need Penn Station.
Our pilot listeners will get the joke.
We're going for a very niche audience here.
Looks like it'll be 2nd down for Terra, and that one flies incomplete.
Gordon's pass.
Is it 2nd down or first down? We have 2 conflicting.
That was first down.
Okay.
2nd and 10, Tigers.
So now it will be 2nd and 10.
Seemed to be a bit of a miscommunication on that route. Maybe Gordon was expecting his receiver to run long. Seemed like instead they ended up going for a bit of a curl route.
Should the Tigers score on this possession, do they go for 2 here or do they wait?
Well, you got to do it at some point. I used to be of the belief that you only do it when you're actually looking to tie, but I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. If you don't get it, then you really have a sense of urgency because you'd be still down 2 scores. So maybe just get it out of the way to find out. what you're going to need to do. Decide whether you need to kick onside.
That's Fabiano Wyatt, and he did not get a lot out of that one. So it will be 3rd and still a few to go.
Gain of 1.
Looks like 3rd and 9.
3rd and 8.
3rd and 8.
Tigers.
Excuse me.
Normally, I would complain about having a PA voice kind of overshadowing us on the mic, but when it's John Horgan, who's been doing this for longer than we've been alive and has such a phenomenal speaking voice, I will have no complaints whatsoever.
Here's Gordon in the shotgun, and the pocket crumbles fast, but he escapes, moving out to the left and deflected at the line. Wow. What a deflection. That looked like number 82 for Burlingame.
That would be Abe Haba on the deflection.
We've not heard his name called a lot tonight. Good for him.
They have lined him up at tight end, but more in a blocking role. They haven't really looked to throw to him. This time, though, he makes a big play, and now, get a stop. You're looking at trying to get into endgame mode, try to close this thing down, although Terra Nova does still have all 3 timeouts.
4th and 8. Gotta have this one. Tigers send 3 out to the right. Here's Gordon from the shotgun. Throws, and it is picked off! That is number 19 for Burlingame, McGovern. He returns it past the 30 and all the way to the 35-yard line. The quarterback making his presence felt at safety, and the Panthers will take over 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line with 3:05 to go.
Looks like a return of a little over 20 yards there, and that is a fired-up sideline. They can finally sense that they've got a shot to win a game for the first time since last November. That last win, by the way, was a CCS quarterfinal against Mountain View, 20-10. The next week, they were knocked down by these Terra Nova Tigers, 14-7. Terra Nova was then defeated by Kings Academy on a 2-point conversion try in the championship game. And in turn, Kings Academy was knocked out by Del Norte, who made the trip all the way down from Crescent City to win the NorCal title.
And this would be a win that means a lot to this program. Burlingame has lost 3 straight to Terra Nova and has just 5 wins against them in the last 17 years.
And on top of that, John Philippopoulos, Oceania alum, Pacifica native, played in the final anchor game back when Oceania still played football.
Coach Phil, if you watch this afterward, just know that you haven't aged a day. Not since you were a student, but, you know, since you are a PE teacher.
At this point, he has become by far the longest tenured coach in program history, reached win number 100, I believe it was in 2014 over Sequoia. And he may be one of the longest tenured coaches in the entire PAL, along with Aragon's Steve Sell.
So Burlingame, here's a handoff, and that will be to LaGuardia again. And he'll get dropped. And it looks like the ball may have come out.
Fabiani Wyatt picked it up, but they blow it dead. I think it was forward progress. He never really went down, but I believe it was definitely stopped on forward progress. And that's not me being a homer. I genuinely believe that is the proper call.
1 yard.
Ethan, as long as we're talking about Coach Phil, I just want to, of course, thank and acknowledge all our teachers, all the first responders, everyone that has been working so hard in person and remotely during the last year plus. It has not been easy, but I am optimistic that we are closer to the end now than we have been so far.
Get vaccinated when you get your turn. And Coach Philippopoulos, among others, finally getting to teach in person this week as the San Mateo Union High School District got to welcome back students for in-person learning. Definitely a refreshing sight for all these kids who, I mean, when this thing first started, they probably thought, what the heck is this remote learning stuff? We'll be doing this for what, a week and then back to normal? And more than a year later, finally achieving some sense of normalcy and letting the kids be kids again, which is just such a nice thing to be able to see.
So finally, a delay of game called against the Panthers. That will set them back another 5 yards, and it will now be 3rd and 12. A minute 15 left on the clock. I still think they go for another run, but you never can tell. Here's McGovern back to pass. I've done it again. The pass is deep and very incomplete. That was intended for number 9, Charlie Koch. So that will bring up 4th and 12 with a minute 9 left, and you're looking at another punt back. Still, the odds probably not tremendously great for a comeback.
Tigers with just 69 seconds to work with now, though they do indeed have all 3 timeouts.
And it will be a punt.
Uter is deep.
Baseball update, 2-run shot by Evan Longoria, and the Giants and Mariners now tied 3-3 in the 6th.
Call's punt is muffed by Uter. It is picked up by the Panthers and returned to the end zone for a touchdown.
I believe you can't advance a muffed punt, unfortunately. It's been blown dead. That's a downer.
The Panthers will have...
Well, it should have been a touchdown. No, I'm just kidding.
There are some very silly, arbitrary rules in high school football, and this is one of them. The one that really drives me nuts, though, is the rule against a running back or other ball carrier, whether that be a back, receiver, whoever, to jump over a defender. You know, I get wanting to stop someone from trying to jump over someone on a field goal in the line. In fact, that's something that is prohibited at higher levels of football as well, but there are very few times when a running back or receiver will actually try to hurdle a player, and when it happens, it's awesome. I saw it a few weeks ago down at Valley Christian, and it just drives me nuts that they actually have a rule against this. I was joking at the time. We'll make one last nod to aviation. Whoever made that rule probably claps when the plane lands.
So it ends up being the Panthers will have the ball at the Terra 15, so I would imagine they still keep it on the ground, but now with a chance to add on. Here's a handoff that is out of bounds. Number 10, Lou Bruning.
The ball carrier.
I think that's his first carry of the night.
Yes, it is. I remember a few weeks ago against SHP in my notes here, late in the game, they went to Nick Celia. Tonight, they're tapping in the depth chart by giving the ball to Bruning. I believe this is usually about the territory of the game we would get into back in that magical 2012 season when they would have handed off to you.
Well, you'd probably need probably the deficit would have had to have been at least twice as big. But yes, those were the days. And it will now be 2nd and 3 as the clock ticks down, and McGovern's just going to take a knee. So that will just about do it and mark the first win of the season for the Burlingame Panthers. They defeat the Terra Nova Tigers by the score of 21-6.
Nice to finally see the offense get some traction. The combination of McGovern and Frankel did their job in the red zone. LaGuardia with a nice game. Giovara doing just about everything. And as for Terra Nova, for a team that hadn't been able to play all year, they honestly didn't look too shabby. Just a few procedural things they need to clean up in these next couple of games. They could maybe go out and pick up a win for themselves. Task will be tough for the Tigers next week as they've got Menlo Atherton. They finish with Jefferson. Burlingame will host Kings Academy next week and then finish things off with San Mateo, trying to extend that little big game streak to 11 years in a row.
So still a lot to play for these last 2 weeks of the season. And Ethan, just want to say once again, an honor to work with you and do this once again.
This has been a great experience. Hopefully we'll be back on the mic again soon, hopefully under better circumstances, but it was great to at least have the dream team back together for a night. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely, and thanks to our entire broadcast team. Once again, the final score here from Burlingame High School, the Panthers 21, the Tigers 6. Good night, be safe, and good luck.